that states companies formed under state legislation, once formed, come under federal legislative authority. Now that's recognised in the 2001 Federal Corporations Act under Section 5, and it actually lists municipalities. They are not the third tier of government, that's a lie. Going back to registering with ASIC, they all have ABN numbers.
Yes.
And when you go into the ASIC website, they come up with the ABN number with NRGD after it. And I'll go further into that when we go down further into this interview.
Now, the government is very keen to put out a little booklet called the Australian Constitution, but I gather you think that that's not the real thing.
That is not the real thing. The framers of the Constitution, two of which were Dr. Quick and Sir Edward Garran, put together, Quick and Garran, or the annotated Constitution of the Australian Commonwealth, Quick and Garran, and these framers included Clark, O'Connor, Parkes, Isaacs, Griffiths. These are all very, very intelligent people, but very, very honest people. And they put together the Constitution, put it to the British Parliament, who approved it and added the first 9 sections to it to make sure that our rights were covered, and put it in place under Queen Victoria with an Imperial Act and letters patent, of which I've got a copy. They also put in the Office of Governor for the State of Western Australia with an Imperial Act and letters patent, something which the state government seems to think it has the right to ignore. Okay. They put in the State Electoral Act with an Imperial Act and letters patent. So the alteration of the boundaries of the Electoral Act 3 years ago, which I opposed in the Supreme Court, is put in place with the Imperial Act and letters patent, requires a referendum throughout the British Empire to alter it.
Right.
If they don't like that, boo-hoo, get over yourselves, you have to do it.
Yes.
It at least has to comply with Section 123 of the Constitution, which says to increase or decrease the powers of the state parliament requires a referendum under this section in the state where they're doing it.
So I remember saying that. I'd like to move on to the next question, is why you got involved with studying the Constitution and using it to move yourself forward with your property.
3 reasons. The main reason being is all my relatives in the past fought in the wars for our rights. The Constitution is our rights. The second reason is my wife and I want to be able to live on our property in basic peace. Thirdly, I come from a very big extended family. I have 5 children at my house at present that all are mine, and it's in their interest, but I'm the second eldest of 14 kids, and we have a massive family, and it's their rights that are being abused. Plus I have a huge area of friends in all walks of life, and their rights are abused as well. So what I'm actually doing is not for me, it's for everybody, including all Australians in the long run.
And so what do you hope to achieve by challenging the federal and state governments and the councils with the Constitution? What's the end result you'd like to see?
All of them in jail. They're all criminals. There's no other way to describe it.
But the people are sovereign, is that true?
The people are sovereign, the Parliament is not. If you go into page 791 of the Constitution in the second last paragraph, it states quite clearly, neither the federal nor the state parliament are sovereign bodies, they're simply legislatures with limited authority. If they attempt to pass a law in excess of that authority, the law is a nullity and affords no obedience whatsoever. In other words, you can ignore it.
That's a very valid point, that section, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you would like to see the people back ruling with their sovereignty and holding the parliament in check.
That's correct.
Yes. The next question I've got for you is, what do you think of Australian attitudes, and what if this continues?
In the past, they've been very blasé. They have. A large group of us got together and we systematically been educating the public. And we found, even very lately more than ever, people are waking up. They're starting to see that their rights are eroded. Their freedoms are gone. They're being taxed every time you turn around.
Every time you get in a vehicle.
Your vehicle? What about your house? Every time you open the door, it costs you money.
And next year it costs you more.
Yeah, well, that's what they think. Well, we've got some news for them, and it's all bad.
Okay. How much protection does the Australian Constitution afford the people?
Absolute.
Everything.
Absolute. It is a contract between the Crown of the United Kingdom and the people, because the people are sovereign.
So the people could live in peace if they were aware of their rights, is what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You have total freedom to do whatever you like, as long as what you do doesn't harm another person, and you stay within the confines of the law.
Yes, the real law.
Yeah, when you break that law, you are subject to it. Until you break it, you're subject to no law.
No, nothing. Right. On to another subject, the Republic. A few years back, we had an issue where they had a referendum on the Republic, and it was defeated. What's your opinion about the threat of the Republic? How real is it?
The threat of the Republic is so real, they've introduced it without our knowledge. And a republic is a socialist dictatorship, which is what they've created by lying and deceiving the people. And they've slipped it in under your nose without you realising.
So you're saying it's here now?
It's here now, yes.
With a de facto government? Is that
de facto government, and that de facto government is a corporation.
Yes. Oh, I see. Now, tell us more about the federal government being a corporation. You said earlier that it was registered with the United States Securities and Investments Commission?
They formed the Commonwealth of Australia as a corporation and registered with the US Securities Exchange Commission, and the number for that registration is 0000805157. Now they then formed all the states as subsidiary companies to that corporation.
Right.
They all have ABN numbers. When you go into ASIC, the numbers come up, and they come up NRGD, not registered. Because they can't register with ASIC as an Australian company when they're actually registered as a subsidiary company of the Corporation of the Commonwealth of Australia. Now, all the public utilities have been sold to that corporation systematically through the years.
Right.
Now, what they've done now, and this is where they come unstuck, and I'll come back to that point in a minute, they have formed the Department of the Attorney General under the Attorney General as a subsidiary company of the state government of Western Australia. Now, any documents you get from the court have the ABN number. They're all exactly the same, because the Attorney General's department controls the State Solicitor's Office, which used to be the Crown Solicitor, and should still be, the DPP, the Supreme Court, the District Court, the Magistrate Court, and under Section 5 of the Acts Amendment Repeals Court and Legal Practice Act, all lawyers are officers of the court. So what you have is a huge monopoly.
Monopoly, yes.
That's in direct conflict with the statute of monopolies. Now that voids any monopolies in this country, or actually throughout the British Empire. Now, if they wish to say that that act doesn't exist, that is the protection that all politicians get with their parliamentary privilege, or what they purport to be protection. All of them are employed under the statute of monopolies. So everything they're doing is really
the Constitution doesn't allow monopolies.
It doesn't allow monopolies, and through its common law. The common law is the statute of monopolies. That's correct. It doesn't allow it. They tried twice in 1911 and 1915 to abolish the statute of monopolies in this country by referendum. You can access that through federalgovernmentlaw.com.au and go into past referendums. So they know we don't want them. Well, the Australian people, which is a good thing, don't trust the parliaments and very rarely pass any referendums that they propose.
So that's why they had to slip in the Republic without us knowing.
Well, that's right. We said no to it, so we got it anyway. And that was aided by McGuinty and a few other morons who think they're above the law and have actually placed themselves above the law. And if he takes offence to me calling him a moron, my attitude to a moron is a person who thinks he has a right to ignore the will of other people.